The 5 functions of the skeletal system are movement, support, protection, storage and production. Movement is where the skeleton is jointed, which allows us to move when the muscles attached to the body are contracted. Support is that without the skeleton, the body would just be flabby, it'd just be skin, and we wouldn't be able to live, really. Protection is the hard nature of bone, which protects the more delicate parts of the body. And storage is where minerals are stored within the bones, which help bone growth, so that the bones can grow as you get older, so that you're not just the same size and the rest of your skin is getting bigger than your bones. Production is red and white blood cells are made in red bone marrow, which is found in the ends of the humerus and in the ribs and the sternum and pelvis. That means that red and white blood cells are working together to make a healthy skeletal system where all the bones are strong, so that the body can keep on going. There are 21 bones in the body, and I've been told that I need to identify them. So this is the cranium, which is otherwise known as the skull. The clavicle is also known as the collarbone. You have the ribs, which are there, and then you have the ilium, which is at the top of the pelvis. You have carpals and metacarpals and phalanges. There's a lot of bones in the hand because it's quite complicated, and there's a lot of small bones that need to make up of it. Fibula and tibia are in the leg. Then you have, similar to the hand, you have tarsals, metatarsals and phalanges. Also, it's quite small and complicated. You have the patella in the knee bone, you have the femur as a long bone in your leg, you have the issue at the bottom of the pelvis, you have the pubis, which is there. Then you have the radius and ulna, which is at the in your forearm, basically. You have the humerus near your bicep, as that was a muscle. You have the sternum, which is in between your ribs, and then you have the scapula, which is at the back of your body, on your back. The skeletal system is separated into 2 different types of skeleton. They are the axial and the appendicular. The axial is the one in purple, which is what the function of it is to support and protect vital organs in the chlorecal and ventral cavities. And the black one is the black bones that I've coloured in are the appendicular. Their function is to hold and support the limbs of the human body, allows us to walk and pick up stuff. The 5 types of bone in the skeleton are short bones, which are like the hands, the semicide bones, which is like your kneecap, the irregular bones, which is mainly the spine, and flat bones, which are the rib cage and the pelvis. There's also long bones, which help us to walk, which are all appendicular, and that is the types of bones. Describe the 5 bones that I've mentioned. The short bones, which are the hands, feet, these are small, often cube-shaped, and are often found with many others, which is right because if you look, there's a lot of different bones that are in the small region of a hand. The semicide bones are just the knee, basically. These are bones that are located within a tendon, and they assist movement. Irregular bones are the spine, I'd call it. Well, most people would call it the spine. These are irregular bones in shapes and have a specific function. The flat bones are the ones in pink, and these are flat and are forming a protective surface. And the long bones, which we have described as the appendicular skeleton, are long and are levers and affect overall height. They're basically just limbs. The vertebral column is that thing there. Right, the numbers are, that's what each bit of it is, and then it is, so the cervical has 7 vertebrae, provide attachment for the neck muscles is what the cervical does. The thoracic has 12 vertebrae, and it supports the rib cage. The lumbar has 5 vertebrae, so does the sacrum. The lumbar allows bending forward and backward from side to side of the spine, and the sacrum transmits force from legs to the upper body. And the bottom thing labelled there is the coccyx. Has no special use, to be honest. It's a part of the human body where two bones are put together. These are some of the bones. This is the saddle bone. They have concave and convex surface. Flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, and circumduction all happens in the saddle. There's another one called the gliding joint. Slide across each other and is in the centre of the chest and the spine. That's what happens. That's where it takes place. You have the ball and socket joint, which is a joint that many people know of. Its example are shoulders and hips, and the ball fits into bone, allows movement in all direction. Adduction, abduction, rotation, hip, all happen at that point. Hip has a deeper socket, so it will not be able to. So it's less prone to injury than the other. This is the hinge joint. It allows movement on one axis, allows stable rotation, allows flexion and extension, and it's in the knee and the elbow. The next two joints are the pivot joint and the condyloid joint. The pivot joint happens in the neck and the arm. Rotation at one axis. Pronation and supination is what allows movement from the arm, and that's where the pivot joint is. The condyloid joint, rotates on two axes, which allows flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, and circumduction.